How are you doing? My name is Muthu Singaram. Thank you very much for being online to look at my presentation. I will spend the next 45 minutes talking about pre-incubation, incubation, and accelerator.
Lunch, simple lunch, pizzas, or even samosa and tea. So you need to run regular programs to make sure there's enough activities within the incubator. You need to make sure your operations are efficient and that whatever money you spend, there's outcome. You don't need too many staff. You need maybe 2 3 people in an incubator to get it going. You need to make sure at all time your team is looking at the overall goal, and your ultimate goal for all of you should be to be able to sustain by yourself. If you're able to sustain by yourself, you don't need to go back to management and say, give me some money. And when you don't ask for money, nobody troubles you because they're not giving money, so they don't really worry about you. They'll stay out of your way. So it's important for an incubation manager, incubation team to look for ways to find ways to generate income or to raise money. So very important. Now, what are the other expenses you will end up with? There's already pre-operational expenses like we talked about earlier. You need to go visit, you need to travel, you need to do some markets research, survey research, whatever you have to do to make sure you get your feasibility report in place. You need money. So there is a pre-operating expense you need to take care of. Once you've passed that, you need to now work on physical facilities. Some places you have to pay rental. Some places the host institution will not charge you anything. Their contribution would be to give you space. Next thing, you need to look for equipment. So here you need to raise money to buy the equipment. The host institution might give you some equipment. Local industry might also donate equipment. So you need to get a good relationship. Next, you need money for your human resources. These are the people who are running your incubator, who are working in the incubator. Extremely important. Then, of course, just like any other business, you will end up having general expenses. This could be things like the regular coffee, tea, maintenance, so on. So these are general expenses you need to take into account. And finally, you need to have some reserves, because if you're not able to raise money, you cannot run your incubator. So you should always trying to see an horizon of 3 years at least, how you'll run your incubator for 3 years. Now, how would you generate income? These are some of the ways you can generate income. The first one is actually you can rent your space to your incubators. The incubator can actually do consulting services, and then the incubator can have royalty agreements with the incubators. So these are some of the examples how you would generate income. And then third-party generation of income would be through government grants. But these are usually one-off. You will not continue to get. So you need to ensure that you are always ahead for funding. Very important. The moment there is no funds, your incubator will not be able to survive. So very important. There are some international bodies like the World Bank. They provide grants specifically if you run programs, maybe gender programs, poverty programs, and so on. There are people who give funding for those programs. And of course, next thing is corporate funding. They will give you some sponsors and so on. So this is how you would generate your income. So please work through that. Now, let's take a look at the comparison. There are two types of incubators, obviously. One is a for-profit incubator, and the other is a non-profit incubator. Obviously, if you're not a non-profit, it's probably easier to get money from private grants. If you're for profit, you need to look for private investment. Corporate responsibility will work for both. Government subsidies are generally given to nonprofits, and you can run multilateral programs to generate income, both sides. And non-government organization funding mechanisms are there for non-profit. For profit, it would be harder. Debt funding, obviously, if you're a profit, you can pay back your debts. If you're a non-profit incubator, it might be difficult, so you may not want to do that. You could also have in-kind services, like your mentors, your trainers. They might say, okay, we will give you services in terms of maybe in the future you will give us some equity in some startups when they do mentoring. So all this you need to think through carefully before getting to the next stage. Now, what does the incubator need? It needs an incubator manager. First of all, very important. When we call them a manager, it could be an executive just running it. That's fine. It's very important. to have someone who's responsible. A faculty in charge can be the interface between the incubator and the host institution. So that's the role the faculty in charge be doing. It should be bridging the incubator to the host institution. You probably need to have somebody who will run training programs for your incubators. You need to probably have a person who's technically capable to a certain extent to help them. You need someone who can do management of your finances. This can be probably, you can probably reach out to the host institution to help you with their existing system. So far, not to my knowledge, there is no incubator who's doing a residential program. So that could be another opportunity some incubators may want to look at, having accommodation. If you do that, then you need to have a service manager who will take care of all this accommodation, logistics, and so on. Right now, to my knowledge, there isn't one incubator in India which is residential. So, I mean, there could be an opportunity for a residential program, just like a residential MBA. So you may want to think about that. Now, these are some of the key skill sets you require. You don't have to have an individual to do all of these. Administration, for example, financial, legal, HR, IT, all this can be outsourced. You pay when you need. The facility management and ICT infrastructure, you can rely on your host institution to help you with all this because they already have facility management, they already have IT structure, which you can use. You can piggyback on it. You need to ensure that the quality of business development service you provide to your clients, meaning your startups, it has to be good. So you got to have a good set of people who know how to do business development. They can be from outside. You can hire them when you need. You need to have quality office infrastructure service, which you already spoke about. You need to be able to teach them or guide them at least to do go marketing. No point having a great product if it cannot be marketed. So it's very, very important for you to do that. And then you need to have someone who knows how to stakeholder management. These are key staff skills. I'm not saying you need to have one person for everything. Your staff should be able to plan, should be able to report, should be able to monitor and evaluate. So your incubator manager should be able to do many of these things with the support of his team. What should the incubator provide? Obviously, the easiest and probably not the most important is to give them the physical infrastructure. As you know today, places like Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Mumbai, they have hundreds and hundreds of these workspaces where people can hire them. They're all very beautifully done up, trendy, nice places for a seat, anything between 2,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees. So physical infrastructure is not the most important. Next thing, very, very important for any incubator, and most incubators are lacking, is to having mentors who can technically help and give business support. You need both types of mentors to guide your startups. And another thing which is missing in many startups is they don't get good legal support.